Who are serial and mass murderers? Core differences and definitions. Before we try to understand extreme violence, we must first define what kind of violence we are looking at. In public discussion, serial murder, mass murder, and spree killing are often treated as if they mean the same thing. But in forensic psychology and criminology, they describe different structures of violence. And those differences matter, because structure changes psychological interpretation. This course does not begin with myth, fear, or media fascination. It begins with disciplined analysis. Serial and mass murderers represent extreme forms of violence, but they should not be treated as one psychological category of evil. They are better understood as the result of complex interactions between personality, environment, life experience, and situational pressures. That is why the first lesson is about definitions. Serial murder is commonly understood as repeated killing across separate events. The key feature is not only repetition, but separation over time. Between one homicide and the next, there is usually some interval. This interval is often described as a cooling-off period. But that phrase can be misleading if taken too literally. It does not always mean emotional calm. It may include fantasy, planning, restraint, fear, routine, or renewed internal pressure. In serial murder, violence often appears as part of a recurring psychological and behavioral cycle. That cycle may involve fantasy, rehearsal, victim selection, preparation, the act itself, and some form of psychological aftermath. Not every serial offender follows the same rhythm. Some are more organized, some are more reactive, some shift over time. So, serial murder is defined by repeated episodes, but not by one single personality type. Mass murder is different. Mass murder usually refers to multiple victims killed in one event or one concentrated episode. Here, violence is concentrated rather than repeated. The psychological question often shifts from recurring cycle to accumulated pressure. Analysts may look at grievance, crisis, humiliation, resentment, isolation, or a sense of collapse. In some cases, mass violence reflects long-building anger or despair, concentrated into one catastrophic act. But mass murder should not be treated as a single psychological formula. Some cases are planned, some are impulsive, some involve both planning and emotional breakdown. So again, category helps us organize behavior, but it does not explain everything. The third term is spree killing. Spree killing usually refers to multiple killings across a short period of time, often across more than one location. The defining feature is the absence of a clear cooling-off interval. The offender remains behaviorally and psychologically in motion. There is no meaningful return to ordinary life between the killings. So if we simplify the distinction, serial murder is repeated over time, mass murder is concentrated in one event, and spree killing continues without a clear psychological pause. Time is therefore one of the most important analytical tools. Sequence is another, and pattern is the third. When these three are confused, the entire analysis becomes blurred. Public discourse often collapses these distinctions because dramatic storytelling rewards simplification. Media language often replaces analysis with labels: monster, madman, evil genius. Forensic psychology has to do the opposite. It must describe the structure of violence before trying to explain it. Serial murder and mass murder may both involve extreme violence, but they often differ in temporal structure, internal rhythm, and psychological process. Serial murder is more often linked to recurrence, repetition, and a cycle that may become increasingly stable or increasingly escalated. Mass murder is more often linked to concentration, accumulated grievance, crisis, or a perceived breaking point. Fantasy may play an important role in serial murder, especially when repeated internal rehearsal becomes linked to action. Grievance may play an important role in some mass murders, particularly when the offender experiences humiliation, injustice, or collapse as psychologically overwhelming. Escalation can appear in both, but it may take different forms. In serial murder, escalation may unfold across repeated offenses. In mass murder, escalation may build toward one concentrated act. Earlier life experiences also matter, but not in a simplistic way. Background is not destiny. No one becomes a multiple homicide offender because of one cause, one trait, or one event. What we usually see is a complex interaction of vulnerabilities, personality structure, life history, situational stress, and opportunity. This is why the same outward fact, multiple victims, may conceal very different psychological realities. A strong analysis begins with a basic question: what kind of violence is this? Then it asks, how does it unfold over time? And then, what psychological pattern seems most relevant to the observed structure? These distinctions are not just academic categories. They shape the entire direction of later analysis. This lesson gives us the conceptual map. In the next lesson, we move beneath definitions and begin examining psychological mechanisms. We will look at motivation, fantasy, internal tension, control, and escalation. Because extreme violence is not understood by treating all offenders as the same.